More than 200 U.S. Navy sailors from World War II were exonerated today. They were found to be unjustly punished following the Port Chicago disaster of 1944. That summer, as ammunition was being loaded onto a cargo vessel in the East Bay, a massive explosion occurred. 320 people were killed. More than 200 of them were Black Navy sailors. Of the surviving servicemen, 50 were later found guilty of mutiny for refusing to go back to work in the unsafe conditions. Their exoneration today comes on the 80th anniversary of the deadly explosion in the East Bay.
And KRON 4's Noel Bello joins us live in studio now with a look back at one of the worst disasters in U.S. military history. Noel?
Grant and Vicki, this exoneration is a very long time coming. All of the men have since passed away, but having their names cleared of wrongdoing is an important step toward fairness and restoring their honor. This week, I visited the memorial that stands in remembrance of the men who lost their lives 80 years ago on this day in the Bay. There's no question why this former naval base is called Port Chicago. The whipping winds on the shoreline tell that story well. But the story of the hundreds of servicemen who lost their lives at this site 80 years ago isn't as well known.
This story has been kind of swept under the rug.
During World War II, Navy sailors were sent to Port Chicago on the southern banks of Sassoon Bay. The base was racially segregated. Commanding officers were all white and the sailors were all black. Those sailors were tasked with loading ammunition onto Liberty ships, transporting cargo and arms to the war zones.
2,000-pound blockbusters or warheads for torpedoes, 16-inch projectors, and anything in between.
It was a task no one on the base was properly trained for.
And I told my my officers several times that one day this stuff is going to explode. And his answer was, if it does, you or I won't know anything about it.
And on July 17, 1944, that's exactly what happened. At 10:18 p.m., two deafening explosions ripped through the base, blowing two ships out of the water and instantly killing 320 men. 202 of them were black sailors.
See, like the sun rose in a few seconds. Just plain daylight. From midnight to daylight in less than a second.
In 1990, KRON 4 produced a documentary called Port Chicago Mutiny, A National Tragedy. 3 survivors shared their stories. U.S. Navy men Joseph Small, Percy Robinson, and Robert Routh Jr. For Robert, the explosion was the last thing he ever saw.
I was laying in my bed with my head resting on my arm, looking in this direction, and an explosion came from this way. So obviously you raised up and looked towards the explosion. And flying glass and concussion. My left eye was so badly lacerated that it was removed that night.
You heard the people screaming. Then you hear the second floor coming down. And the guy, my bunkmate, next bunk, he couldn't get out. So his arm fell on the floor. Someone cut his arm off. Still more people screaming, trying to get out.
For survivors like Percy Robinson, the horrors of the next hours and days were tough to recall, as they were now fully aware of the dangers of the job. Not long after the tragedy, the Navy ordered the sailors to resume their work without addressing the hazardous conditions. Joseph Small was one of 50 black sailors, eventually known as the Port Chicago 50, who refused to go back.
And he asked the question, Small, are you going back to work? And I said, no, sir. And when I answered him, somebody over in the ranks said, if Small don't go, we're not going.
Accused of conspiring together, the Navy responded by charging the group with mutiny. During the trial, it was revealed their white officers had imposed a competition at the port, betting on whose group of black seamen could load the munitions fastest. Despite the disturbing details of conditions on the base being revealed, all 50 servicemen were found guilty.
We had not even thought of the word mutiny. It had not come up.
Though they were sentenced to lengthy prison terms, the men were all released quietly about a year later. They were, however, ordered to finish their terms with the Navy. Scrutiny from the disaster and trial did eventually lay the groundwork for reform. The Navy put safety practices in place, and despite originally being the most rigidly segregated military branch, the U.S. Navy became the first to desegregate 2 years later in 1946. Today, wooden posts from the original loading docks still stand above the bay waters, marking the Port Chicago Naval Magazine National Memorial. The solemn site holds with it a sense of immense loss, but also serves as a place of reflection and a reminder to never forget the men of Port Chicago.
That it is a very inspirational story to folks in that they are inspired to learn more, that they want to know more, that they want to help get this story out.
This week, the National Park Service and the City of Concord are hosting several different events to honor the bravery and the sacrifice of those men. On Saturday, a commemoration will be held at the memorial as well. We have all of the details of those events on our website, cron4.com. There's a play, there's conversations about desegregation, and Thurgood Marshall, who was extremely pivotal in trying to get folks to understand what was happening there at Port Chicago. Oakland Congresswoman Barbara Lee has issued a statement about their exoneration, calling today's decision a monumental day for justice. She said, "I appreciate the Secretary of the Navy taking this crucial action to exonerate these courageous men who were unjustly court-martialed by the Navy following the explosion on the 80th anniversary of the tragic event. It's fitting these men are not only exonerated, but honored for their service to this country."
An incredible piece of local history with larger import for sure.
Definitely, and it's something that I feel is not talked about. You know, you don't hear about it. A lot of that is due to the fact that a lot of these men did not share their stories until much later. Many of them saying in the documentary that I pulled a lot of that footage from, saying that they were embarrassed to talk about it. They didn't want their friends who had also served in World War II to think that they were mutinous. And then, of course, just as you saw Percy Robinson there, you know, breaking down, talking about just the tragic event happening and how traumatized he still was from what he had seen and experienced.
But finally, you know, most importantly, to restore their honor.
Definitely, yes. And I was just there yesterday, and you know, the National Park Service was hoping that the exoneration would come. So for it to come today, definitely, I agree.
You've been working on this piece for a while and went to the site.
I went to the site, yeah, yesterday. It's actually an active Army base, so it's difficult to get on, to get approvals for video and that sort of thing. So it took a minute, but it was actually, I did a story with the former mayor of Pinole last month, and he is who shared with me about Port Chicago. I had never heard about it, so it was really interesting to learn about.
It with us.
Can the public go? Can the pub?
You do have to go through a process. Yes, like I said, it's an active Army base, so there are certain days that you can and can't do tours, but online there's Port Chicago website. You can go online and you know, send in your information to get approval to go. And if you want to watch the documentary that Cron 4 produced back in 1990, that is all thanks to SF Bay Archives through San Francisco State University. They have the video archived on their website, so that is also linked on our website as well.
Great story.
At least those families now can
definitely
get some sense
of
closure.
Definitely.
All right, thank you, Noelle.
Thanks so much.